Yellow, Jacob. And today, let's go ahead and discuss the Week 11 Minnesota Vikings matchup. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the Minnesota Vikings will be hosting the Dallas Cowboys at U.S. Bank Stadium in the late afternoon America's Game of the Week slot on CBS. And, when last we saw of the Cowboys, they got basically embarrassed, or not really embarrassed, I guess, but they lost in overtime to the Green Bay Packers, who then in turn, Thursday, lost to the Tennessee Titans, basically all but ending the Packers season. Probably. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily count them dead until they're dead. However, though, as a Vikings fan who's, kind of been following and kind of been watching, let's just say I really don't have a whole lot of hope for the Packers coming back into it. But regardless, though, back to the matchup at hand here, the Minnesota Vikings, as I just got done mentioning, will be hosting the Dallas Cowboys. And, the Dallas Cowboys are not a team to mess with. I mean, they still have Dak. Zeke may or may not be back, but even if he's not, they got Pollard, Gallup, Lamb. They have Trayvon Diggs. They have Micah Parsons. And by the way, too, they have our old pal, Anthony Barr, who may or may not be playing, I don't know. I mean, I know he's been on the injury list. But again, Vikings fans, tell me where you've heard that one before. It's no, but in all honesty, though, we got a lot to watch out for because this Cowboys team is not going to go down lightly. I mean, they're fighting right now for their lives in the NFC East. And after that miracle win against the Bills last week, hopefully the Vikings don't rest on their laurels. They're not going to come out slow, sluggish, and, still, basically, for lack of a better term, drunk off of the win against the Bills. I don't see that happening. I don't think that'll happen. Because, don't get me wrong, that Bills win was probably the biggest win I've seen as a Vikings fan in a long time during the regular season. But again, we got to move forward. We got to push forward on to Dallas, because if you take Dallas lightly, they will drop a bomb on you. Granted, with the Vikings being 8-1, we've banked enough wins where I still feel comfortable with this team, but we don't want to test that out here. Especially because, again, Gallup, Pollard, Zeke potentially, Lamb, Dak, Parsons, Trayvon Diggs. I mean, that is a nasty team right there. So, the Vikings just need to run the damn ball. Because last week against the Packers, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, those guys managed to hit the edges on the Cowboys and were gashing them for yards. So if we can get Cook on the perimeter, Madison, maybe run a few end arounds with guys like J.J., Osborne, maybe even get Jalen Reagor or Kene in there, if we can utilize the edge game a little bit more, then I feel like we will be solid. And also for the defense, play your assignments. Whatever you do, don't try to play hero ball. Get to Dak Prescott. The Cowboys' O-line ain't the same O-line from just a couple years ago. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of players come and go, retire, you name it. So, but with that said, though, Dak still has a lot of weapons. So if we can pressure him, if we can make him off rhythm, off kilter, then I like our chances here. So Ed Donatello, don't be afraid to send a few blitzes, because that's a thing that always got me about this team so far. Like, there's been a few times I would have loved to see the Vikings apply a little more pressure here. I'm not saying necessarily blitz every other play here. No, don't, because I have enough weapons that they could very easily dump a screen and it's 80 yards the other way. However, when Dak Prescott or when Josh Allen or when Aaron Rodgers or when hell even Justin Fields or Bailey Zappi, or whoever stands back there and has like 10 seconds to read the field, what do you expect? These guys can get it done. These guys have gotten it done. And whatever you want to say about the Cowboys, the ownership, this, that, America's team, blah, 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 media, this, that, and the other thing, they're still a damn good team. They still have a lot of weapons. They still have a lot of key pieces that can really ruin your day as a defense or as an offense. Again, our offensive line is going to have a day against arguably one of the best defensive players, if not even one of the best players, period, in the NFL, in Micah Parsons. Second year in the league, already looking like potentially a Hall of Fame stud. So, we got to watch out. Where's 11? Where's Parsons at? Who are we going to have to double? Who are we going to have to, cover? It reminds me a lot of, basically, think of him as like a much younger Zadarius Smith. One of those guys who can line up from anywhere and just go. But can also play coverage really well as well. So with that said, the big keys here, kind of wrapping this all around and wrapping this all up here, is stopping the Cowboys' defense. Where's Parsons? Where's Diggs? Where's Barr? Where's the linebacking core? Where's those safeties at? Trying to find the mismatches, trying to find the coverages here. And also on defense for the Vikings, watching out where Gallup, Prescott, Pollard, Zeke if he's in, Lamb, watching where all those guys are and keeping an eye on them. And also can't forget about Dalton Schultz either, who is a very underrated tight end. So, again, what's nice about this is the Vikings start a stretch of like 5 or 4 out of the next 5 games are at home. Including the game that my dad and I will be going to week 13 against the Jets. So, and also don't forget next week too is a doubleheader. Because not only do we play the Cowboys on Sunday, but we turn around and host the Patriots on Thanksgiving night. So, and depending on what happens over these next couple of games here, because the Packers losing, whatever, according to Ari, one of the Twitter beat writers and stuff like that from the NFL, media circles and stuff like that, the Vikings could wrap up the NFC North as early as week 12. So as early as the end of next weekend, the Vikings could have the division on wrap. But again, we'll get there when we get there, if we get there. Because as a Vikings fan, I've learned to never, take anything for granted, take anything lightly. So until we wrap up the division for real, I'm just going to say keep winning, boys. At the end of the day, all we can do is control what we can control here. And let's get the damn thing done, because it's always fun to beat the Cowboys on national television. Doesn't matter what team you are, baby. Especially when you have all those cocky Cowboys fans. But anyway. Yep. And not to mention, we haven't beat the Cowboys at home since US Bank Stadium opened. How? I don't know. But it'd be really nice to start this weekend, baby. And then hopefully we can go into Thursday and win there. But I'll probably make a preview there Tuesday or Wednesday or so before that game. So, yeah. Again, one game at a time here, boys. But this team is looking something special. This team just has something going for it that's hard to explain. So let's go into Sunday at US Bank Stadium and take down the dirty, dirty Cowboys. Let's get it done, boys. So until we meet again, this is Jacob. Stay tuned, though, because, well, if you haven't noticed, or if you don't know, the reverse retro line has dropped on NHL Shop, and your boy, well, let's just say, has a few coming. 4 to be exact. 3 of them have already shipped. 1 of them is in back order, so who knows when that one will get here. So stay tuned for that, because let's just say the 4 that I got, I'm really, really excited for. 3 of them are Adidas, and 1 of them is Fanatics. Mainly because I'm just curious to see if the Fanatics reverse retro line is any different than, the normal Fanatics jerseys. Doubt it, but who knows. So, anyway, stay tuned for that. And this is Jacob signing out. Have a good night.